The 1980s was a time of political and economical turmoil for the United States of America. Everything was changing. The music was new, the views were obscured, and there was a movie star in the White House.
The new music of the time was loved by all of us in the 80s. Rock and roll became harder and faster. Elvis made way for other musicians like Pat Benatar, Journey, and Bruce Springsteen.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you how we touched the born in the USA. I was born in the USA. I was.
Ronald Reagan was liked by many people for forcing the destruction of the Berlin Wall. So far, he was the only president that had shown any progress with negotiations with the Soviets. However, Ronald Reagan already had an attempt on his life.
And that was just the scariest thing because it was the president, you know? After JFK and everything in the 60s, nobody wanted to see another president was shot. And, that was just not bomb diggity.
Many good movies were produced in the 1980s, like the 5th and 6th Star Wars, E.T., and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. These were just the pinnacle of technology at the time, so they were very popular then as well as now.
Sometimes people in the 80s like to go to the movies.
That was a good time for movie theaters, but also the ability to be part of the movie pulled us young ones in. The Atari was a system that had been around for a few years, but it became very popular in the 1980s.
Sometimes people in the 80s like to go
to
the
play
movies.
Atari.
If you didn't have the money to buy the Atari, though, you may have spent most of your time rocking the doobies after school.
Sometimes people in the 80s like to go to
To
the
smoke
movies.
some doobies.
There were a lot of different fashion styles during the 80s, depending on what clique you were in. Teasing your hair was hella at the time for everyone, though.